Assalamu alaikum. My name is Selma and I'm from the Chicagoland area. As a Muslim growing up in America, I mostly heard about Malcolm X from my public school history teachers and the media. Most of the rhetoric surrounding X said was negative, affecting my perception of him. It wasn't until I read his autobiography that things changed. Malcolm X's teenage and early adult years were engulfed in dancing, lindy hopping, drugs, and hustling, as Malcolm called it. He said himself that when he was in Harlem, New York, he was a true hustler, uneducated, unskilled at anything honorable, and exploited any prey that presented itself. I would risk just about anything. His life in Harlem drastically changed after he was sent to jail. Malcolm X's intellectual development was most affected by his time in prison. His time with the Norfolk Prison Debating Society was his baptism into public speaking, and he says that after he left prison, he lost his 20/20 vision from how often he strained his eyes in the dim prison lights after hours.
Don't scare Negroes today with no badge or no white skin or no white sheet or no white anything else. The police the same way.
During his prison time, his family also introduced him to the Nation of Islam at this point, and that's when his life took a 180. His support for Elijah Muhammad was unwavering for more than a decade, growing the Nation of Islam's members from 400 to 40,000. During this time, his speeches were notoriously inciting and often had anti-white elements. He called the white man the devil and recounted the white man's sins from the conception of America. His words, fiery, powerful, and full of anger at the oppressor, resonated with thousands of African Americans and brought to light the terrible actions of the white man and the veiled racism in the North.
They attack you, bust you all upside your mouth, and then take you to court and charge you with assault. What kind of democracy is that?
Later in life, because of a dispute, he broke off from the Nation of Islam, and then made his way to complete his Hajj in Mecca to find the true Islam. Here, he says, America needs to understand Islam because it is the one religion that erases from its society the race problem. I have never before seen sincere and true brotherhood practiced by all colors together, irrespective of their color. After this experience, his attitude remarkably changed and began to advocate in terms of equality. However, the white press continued to cling on to Malcolm's previous image, one they said preached hate and violence. They refused to accept the new Malcolm X that came back from Hajj. Malcolm X once said, "You can't separate peace from freedom, because no one can be at peace unless he has his freedom." Malcolm X fought for the freedom for African Americans and Muslims. Without Malcolm X's impact, many of the social justice figures we see today would not have a platform to preach for peace. For his work that paved their path, Malcolm X to this day is labeled by most institutions as a hate monger. He was assassinated on February 21st, 1965, for the work that he has done. The press, during his time and also today, have succeeded in tainting his image and having teachers teach that Malcolm was violent and hateful. We need to change this rhetoric. Educate yourselves and those around you. Talk about his life beyond his earlier years. Learn his true story and see the impacts he made for all people in this country. And always work towards the freedom that Malcolm X was looking for.